Today we're counting down the best rides at Aquatica San Antonio. So starting off our video with a lazy river, we have got Loggerhead Lane, and whilst this attraction right here will not be sending you into giant funnel sections or quite literally fooling you through a tube, you are sure to fall in love with this ride. That was awful. Anyway, what I am trying to say is that at the same time that it has not got the giant thrills after spending all day splishing, splashing and sliding down all of those amazing slides that we'll be covering later on. Sometimes nothing is better than picking up a tube and relaxing around the 1,250 feet of lush oasis. But if you're like me, who let's just say will not last longer than 10 feet in that, there is still so much for us to do, including my personal favourite part, that giant waterfall which you can dunk your friends under and get them absolutely drenched. Even so, if the lazy river was too lazy for you and instead you'd rather take on a normal slide, well then look no further than Kiwi Curl, which is your Bob standard body slide, but by no means does that mean it's bad at all. As if you choose to take on this adventure, you'll be twisting and turning around many open tubes, experiencing a fun of a slide, just without the absolutely crazy thrills, all before you make it to the bottom and go, you know what, I miss these classic slides. And so whilst I would normally suggest doing the uniquer ones and then coming back to this one, with you also being able to race someone else on this, I feel like it may be worth just doing this one because A, it will build you up to the bigger size, and B, it's just so much fun. Talking about fun, you know how usually you may see an amazing looking slide and go, wow, I've got to ride that, before then going on it and then being like, oh, that was disappointing. Well, our next attraction from the outside looks extremely bright and colourful with many lights and flowers and all of that stuff. And if you choose to go on it, it only gets better. I mean, just look at this thing. As you make your way down the twisty turning loud, you'll be met by so many lights that it's almost hypnotic, but definitely awesome. So when people say don't judge a book by its cover, they mean it, because if you go on this side, there'll be nothing but impressiveness. Moving on from the solo slides and into the dual slides, we have now got HooRoo Run, which is basically your normal slide, just in a dual pair. And what's so awesome about that is that if you go on your own, you can put out your legs and relax as you twist around. However, if you go in a pair, you'll be able to share those reactions when going through the dark tubes and into the pretty cool open areas and get wet by that water time after time after time before then finally splashing out of the end where you'll go, you know what, that was another classic slide, but again, really awesome. Oh, and do I have to mention that like all of the slides so far, you can also race each other. So you can grab two other frenemies and basically go for an awesome race. You know what, many of you might be thinking right now, sharing those reactions with one another is so awesome, and how amazing would it be to share it within a 4-person raft? Well, here we now go. This is Stingray Falls. And what many people do not know before visiting is that this is the slide that can get the longest queues. So if you are visiting on a busy day, then it may be best to do this straight away before the other ones. And trust me when I say it is totally worth it, as it is funny enough, not so much the layout of all of those twists and turns, the sideways bit where you fly into the air, sharing those reactions, that makes this one so awesome, but actually the ending? Cause yeah, once you've experienced all of that and then went down into the final splashdown, you will enter into a tree trunk and into an aquarium. How awesome is that? And I hope I'm not being fishy here, but a trip to the park in my eyes anyway will be nowhere near complete without it. Who here has ever wondered what it must feel like to be flushed down a toilet bowl? Oh, is that just me? Well anyway, if you've ever wondered, well our next attraction, Tassie's Twisters, will tell you exactly what. Because once again, this side isn't a pair, and actually thinking about it, amongst it being amazing to race one another, it makes a lot of sense with the park being so popular and the slides not having a massive capacity. So basically the queues are shorter when you want to board a raft, head down some tubes before then shooting out into the giant toilet bowl section in which you'll spin around and around and around before then plopping out the end, sometimes even backwards. And there you have it, that's what it feels like to go down a toilet bowl. Earlier on I mentioned that one of the best things about family raft sides is that you can share all of those reactions when heading down the loud, and as much as that is true, it's sometimes only good for people watching those reactions. Next up we have got Walhalla Wave, and even though this is a family raft side, it is a family raft side, if you know what I mean, because once you boarded a raft and you know it's intense because it's got the holes in those so you won't fall out, when you then make your way round the twists and turns all before dropping, and remember someone will go down backwards into the Walhalla Wave, which then the laws of physics comes in because whatever goes up the wave has to also come down, so you will then drop back down again through some more tubes before coming out of the end, most likely screaming. And trust me when I say that those screams will never be forgotten. There has been many adventures so far where we have turned our friends into enemies, frenemies, for a series of twisty-turny tubes. However, there's not been a side yet which is purely for racing. Until now that is, as next up we have got Taumata Racer, where you can race 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yeah, 5 people including yourself down the spaghetti side all the way down to the bottom. But wait, we are just getting started, because even though I can imagine that you'll be racing at some supersonic speeds and come out with plenty of time to spare, even if you're not a winner, which obviously has never happened to me, you can still have so much fun experiencing the twisty turny tubes all before coming out of the end where you experience a little bump on your front. Did I forget to mention that? The entire side, start to finish, will be done on your front on a mat. So, no lifeguard will be telling you this time not to go down forwards, with it being the entire intent. The only thing with that racer side though is that even though you can still go down it is always best to be in a group of 6, and if you're not, you may rather opt for our next attraction, Riptide Race, because once again you'll be racing one another, but the side layout is way better. With this time you going in 2 teams of 2 and then deciding whether you are a yellow side racer or a turquoise one, both of which experience many twists and turns, and my favourite part where you experience a few bounces but in the open air, so you can look across that way or that way and see whether you are a champion or are losing and going to have to speed up. We've had the fun, we've had the excitement, we've had the competitive. What are we missing? Oh yes, the extreme thrills, and IU's Breakaway Falls will definitely make up for all of that, with you getting a choice out of 3 sides, the first one and the most tame one being the green one, where you will basically drop, twist and turn at some crazy speeds before coming out of the end, just like an intense version of your normal tube side. But oh wow, the other ones are most definitely not, with you beginning that adventure by standing with your arms crossed within a futuristic pod, and then that door underneath you will drop, leaving you quite literally free falling at some much faster speeds and going, whoa, that is insane. Thank you all for watching, bye bye.